Hey, welcome back to the program. This is your Real Estate Chalk Talk, and we are broadcasting from the Rack Shack Barbecue Studio in the Twin Cities. I'm Keith Hittner Sr. here in the studio once again with Keith Hittner Jr. You can reach us directly at 612-627-8000. Kelvin Kaemingk, the money man, is in the chair with this week's tips on getting the best mortgage deal. We'll be hearing from Kelvin later in the program. His number is 651-231-2500. Just give me a minute here. I just got to forget a few things. Keith Areno gave me some things I have to remember, and I got to forget a few things first.
Purge.
I got to purge before I got room in there because the memory banks are pretty jammed up.
No, your brain is sharp.
We got this week. We got a special guest, Fritz John Taylor. Fritz has been with the team here. I don't even know how long you've been with the team.
17 years?
Is it 17 now? How long
Close.
is it?
We're approaching that. 3 years at a time. 3 years?
3 years. One question that's been on my mind for 3 years.
Why don't you shave?
No, not well. That's one question, but no, really, it's why Fritz, and why not John?
Yeah. John Frederick Taylor is my full name.
It's your given name.
Yeah, and Fritz is obviously a derivative or short for Frederick.
Is it?
Yeah,
Really?
and the reality
So you
is,
learn something every day
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
I did not know that.
Real Estate Chalk Talk.
the reality is I was never going to be called John. My name was actually Jay for a couple days. Didn't matter. My name could have been Frankenstein. I was always going to be called Fritz. So
Really?
yeah,
Really? By your parents called you Fritz?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know if it's
kind of a family deal. Yeah, yeah.
So why don't you kind of give us a little background of your journey, how you got involved in real estate in the first place. So what did you do before you actually got into the industry that would give people some comfort of how you work with people in general? Just give us a little background.
Oh, sure. Graduated college at St. Cloud State, 92,
Degree
with a psychology degree and a marketing minor.
Oh, interesting
Yeah,
combination.
yeah, it was. It was a great education, and then moved on to I bounced around a little bit, but a variety of sales jobs that taught me different ways and approaches to selling, but also I owned a retail clothing store called Plato's Closet for a while as well. And that gave me some of the management and time management skills necessary to,
I didn't know that.
yeah, it was a good experience.
And then what?
Then got into the mortgage finance industry, and right around the top, right around when it was just going to fall out of bed and
Fall off the cliff,
yeah,
right?
exactly. So did that for a couple of years, 3 years, and then a friend of mine pulled me into the property management element of real estate, and did that for a number of years, and then when I was
What did your duties entail there?
Well, everything. It was a small organization, so it was finding tenants, finding landlords, securing the business, everything from A to Z. So I mean that's a whole long conversation in itself. But when I started getting out of the rental side of the business and transitioning more into the buy-sell, that's when I found you guys and came on board with you.
Actually, because that rental management company was a vendor of ours.
It was.
We used that
Yep,
company,
yep.
and that's how we met.
Yep.
So then you decided to make the move from property management and working with tenants to working with homeowners.
Yeah.
And home buyers and so on.
Yeah, and that was always the goal. Our philosophy over there was very simple. Tenants become buyers and landlords become sellers. And it started working. I'd been doing it for 3-4 years with him. And I was building out my business whereas people were transitioning over to the buy-sell, and I needed more resources and support, knowledge,
so you get
things
some
like
of that
that.
turnover, and the buyers are coming out the other side.
Absolutely.
Well, we're
So-
definitely happy to have you on. It was fun when we brought you on initially, and you transitioned to a pretty integral part of the team, so we're happy to have you on. Again, we're talking with Fritz Taylor with the Hittner Group, hittnergroup.com, Hittner group.com.
I'm curious too. Now, what would you say is a typical day for you? And I know Keith and I have been talking about this because we're really wondering what the heck you do all day long. So, what would be like a typical day for you?
Get up around noon, go to the hockey rink, play a little hockey, take a shower, go eat, go home, take a nap,
Yeah.
Then
watch
about
some
3
TV,
o'clock.
Yeah,
make 3 phone calls after everyone's off of work. Yeah. You know what everyone thinks we do, right?
Right.
Uh,
And then head down to the Lexus dealership to
Exactly.
check on the order for your new
Absolutely.
Lexus. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
You know, the great thing about this industry is it provides a ton of variety, which is what I love. So typical day, there's no typical day. It's get up and I always kind of clear my schedule or clear my voicemail, make sure I don't have any emails the night before, so I start with a fresh plate. So get up. You know, that could start at 7 o'clock. It could start at 8. I don't know, depending on the season.
Mm-hmm.
And just start hitting checklists. I'm a big checklist guy, so I want to make sure that I'm checklist about who I need to talk to today, what tasks I need to perform. You know,
Comes back to having to be organized when you're in the
absolutely,
retail business.
Absolutely, yeah.
So when you, one of the things that you've become very key in is that we've got one of the websites that we have servicing the public so that they can get information is tchomehub.com. That's TC like Twin Cities, tchomehub.com. It's a property search website that thousands of people actually have gone to and registered on. And those people are all inquiring in one way or another, looking at properties, inquiring about properties. And then tell us about the follow-up on that and what that is involved, or how do you work that program?
You know, one of the things that I love about working with you guys specifically, and then also Twin City Home Hub, is the processes. The processes are in place. Any sales job is all about following up, setting to do lists moving forward, and actually making those phone calls. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to. Hey, I'll call you next Tuesday, and you call them next Tuesday, and they're just dumbfounded, like, oh my God, you remember?
You actually called me next
Yeah,
Tuesday.
exactly. It wasn't Monday, it wasn't Friday, it was Tuesday. And even more specifically, hey, I'll call you Tuesday. What time? 5 o'clock. Boom, you're calling them right at 5 o'clock. People really appreciate that. So it's those processes that we have in place that really help us be as efficient as possible. So the Twin City Home Hub website is phenomenal at that. What it does is it just connects us with consumers that are either A, looking for a property right now, or looking to move or buy or sell in 6 months, a year. I've got several people that I work with right now that aren't looking to move for 6 months, a year, 2 years.
Yeah, and that's a big part about our business is creating relationships, right?
Absolutely.
And being able to establish some rapport and some authority for them. They're looking for help, right?
Absolutely.
And we use so much technology in our life as it is to communicate with our grandmother, our brother, our sister, our mother, our spouses. And so folks are used to communicating through these channels. And if you communicate back to them, they respond to it.
Yeah. Well, and it's great to have these processes in place, most specifically because the big misconception with this industry is, hey, I'm going to start looking for a job when I've got my down payment ready, and I've got all my bills, and my credit's perfect, and yada, yada. That is not the case. In real world, I want you calling me the day you decide or the day you think you want to move.
Yeah.
That could be a year, 2 years from now. It doesn't matter to me. We're going to get those processes. We're going to get you in the system, help you today, as you were talking about in the previous segment relative to selling. There's a lot of stuff that goes into preparing a house to sell. Well, the same thing with buyers, too. There's a lot to buying a house. I've had a couple buyers recently that have said, oh, I'm not buying for 6 months or a year. Second house we walk into, they're like, well, let's make an offer.
Well, you said.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to let you buy this now.
Exactly. So it's one of those situations where if you haven't done all this work before, you're not going to be making an offer on Saturday with no pre-approval. It just doesn't work.
That's right. Fritz, again, we're talking again with Fritz Taylor. Fritz Taylor with the Hittner Group. That's hittnergroup.com, Hittner Group.com. Fritz, what area of business do you prefer? Do you like to work with buyers? Do you like to work with sellers? Talk a little bit about that.
I actually like, it's kind of a cop-out, but I like working with both. I like being connected to both sides of the transactions and being proficient. That's a big thing with this industry. A lot of people, I've been in the industry for 15 years. I've been in the industry for 20 years. That's great. How many transactions do you do a year? How many on both sides do you do? Well, I only deal with buyers. Well, do you know what sellers are thinking then? And vice versa. So I like working with both sides of the transaction so that when I'm on this side of the table, I know what they're thinking about. And when I'm on, vice versa, when I'm on the other side, I know what sellers are thinking about.
Yeah, it's good to have a broad mix of what you're doing, and also rentals, right?
Absolutely.
You do still have your hands involved in some rental activity.
I do. Which is a nice little option. You know, we've got some houses, especially this time of the year, that aren't selling.
Sure.
And so, hey, instead of canceling the listing, I've got one that doesn't live here. It's a vacant home.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they can, leave it vacant and pay the mortgage and utilities for the next 4 months till the market turns back on. Or how about we get a short-term rental in there? Maybe we get a 14-month rental where,
Sure. Sure. Well, thanks for coming in, Fritz. Fritz Taylor with the Hittner Group, hittnergroup.com, Hittner Group.com. And that's a real good transition to the next segment. Actually, Kelvin has a question from a guest about putting their house on the market in the winter over the holidays and what we do there. This is your Real Estate Chalk Talk. Find us online at realestatechalktalk.com. That's realestatechalktalk.com. There you can search for properties, find out your home value, and apply for the mortgage with our money man, Kelvin Kaemingk. That's realestatechalktalk.com. Give us a call, 612-627-8000.